Well, good evening, everybody. Your truly is here with you on this Monday night here. And, it's a new work week. Well, it's a new week. Work week for some, others maybe not. But weekend's over with, and we're almost to Tuesday. Congratulations, you made it through Monday. And we're almost to Tuesday here. So tell me about, what's going on with you. How was your weekend? What all did you do anything interesting this weekend? As far as me, I just really watched a whole lot of football this weekend. I watched some college football on Saturday, and then yesterday I watched some pro football. How about that Cowboy game last night? It was fantastic. Hey, what's up, Nan? One of the best games I've ever seen, probably. I'm good, Kate. Thank you. So it was a great game last night, and then today just kind of chilling here today. Made a nice dinner. I actually cooked it in the crock pot. Chicken piccata. It was good. So that's what I was doing. I have a bunch of I grew watermelons this summer, and it took them a long time, but they finally got ripe. Now they're starting to die off now, but they finally got ripe, and I picked a whole bunch of them over the weekend. I cut them up and put them up in the refrigerator. Let me tell you what, folks, some of those watermelons are fantastic. They're the sugar babies. They're smaller watermelons, but boy, those things are packed full of sugar, or sweetness rather. It was good. So, but anyway, made it to 10 years with American Airlines today. Well, congratulations, Corey. What do you do for American Airlines? So congratulations on your anniversary. Corey's anniversary is there tonight. As far as weather goes, well, I mean, this is another week where there's just not a whole lot to talk about. This is hey, what's up, Tracy? This is a typical La Nina weather pattern that we're in now. And man, it's just, there's nothing going on here in our world of weather. And it's going to stay that way, until further notice. I'm going to show you a few little graphics here so we can talk a little bit about that. And then we can kind of go from there. So also, we got a couple of hurricanes out there in the Atlantic, but they're not going to impact the mainland of the U.S., thank goodness. So that is good. That is good. All right, so I am going to share my graphics so you can watch too. All right, here we go. All right, I'm gonna hide this so y'all can see. All right, so here we go. Let's talk about, and if you watch me tonight at 5 or 6 o'clock, you told me you use some of these similar graphics here, so I'm just going to use them again. No reason not to. So if you take a look at the weather patterns, it just seems like we're always either in an El Nino or a La Nina. Sometimes you'll be somewhere in between, but there really isn't anything such as normal anymore. You can use this neutral as 0, and this would be like that would be kind of your average line, or it would be kind of where would be kind of the point below or above is what I'm trying to say here. So when the temperatures and this is all has to do with water in the Pacific Ocean off the South American coast. When those waters are warmer than average, you get an El Nino. When it's cooler than average, you get a La Nina. And it seems like it's always one or the other. If it's closer to that black line, you're called what's neutral. And it looks like we're slightly below neutral and into the very, very weak La Nina phase now, or the weather pattern certainly looks like it anyway. And my observation, a weak La Nina impacts our weather here more so than a strong La Nina would. Oftentimes, strong La Nina doesn't do much for us. But a strong, likewise a strong El Nino. But the weaker versions of the two can oftentimes have greater impacts on our weather here than stronger versions of the two. So with the weak La Nina in place this fall and winter, it typically brings warmer than average temperatures, mild temperatures, and then it also brings dry conditions. Remember, most of the spring, well, basically all of the spring and all of the summer, cooler than average and above average on rainfall. But now that we've gotten into fall, we've seen some trends where we're starting to see things dry up a bit, And there's some even little drought spots showing back up again, which I don't necessarily agree with. But anyway, that's what the Climate Prediction Center says anyway. And temperatures are awfully warm. But in my experience, more times than not, um, we usually wind up with warm weather in the month of October. Very rarely do you see October come in with a lot of cool weather. Now, the latter half of October is different. I mean, when you get like beyond the 20th, 25th, somewhere in there, a lot of times we'll just get a big dump of cold air and it'll just turn cold overnight. And that's no fun. We want that transition, but unfortunately, we don't really get that often here in this part of the country. So if you look and see that we got this little weak La Nina that's going to last through the fall and into the winter months. But it looks like as we get into spring, we transition out of it, and it looks like we could head towards El Nino. And if we do get into El Nino next spring, especially when you're in transition, oftentimes that can lead to an increase in severe weather threats, especially with weak El Nino across our area. So we'll have to keep an eye next spring. It could be pretty active if this weather pattern does indeed happen here. But this is your typical La Nina weather pattern, and it couldn't be any more textbook than this. You typically have this bubble of warm air, hot air, that sits somewhere across the south central, or sometimes it's over here, and then a lot of times it's over here too, and it keeps the storm track north and west of us. This is very typical, and that's why your rain is up here, and your dry is down here. And it also creates warm weather. So that's your weather pattern into at least the early parts of October. Now, there are some indications that maybe as we head towards the middle and latter part of the month, that this pattern may break down here, and we may see some of this storm track try to get down to our direction, but that remains to be seen. But as long as this weather pattern's this way, don't expect any big strong fronts to come through and cool us off. Don't expect any big wet weather patterns. Don't expect anything that's going to be too out of the ordinary. So that would be for at least the next week or so. Now, if we look at the month of September, we're actually doing okay, but we're a little bit below average on rainfall. And I think a lot of that came with one rain event. For the fall, of course, the fall season, the numbers are kept from September 1st all the way through the end of November. That's in the world of weather. But for the year, we're actually about 5 inches above average. Our yearly average rainfall total is 27 inches. So as of right now, the rainfall amount sits at 32.02, which is about 10.5 inches above average. But if you even didn't see another drop of rain through the end of the year and you wound up with this, you'd be 5 inches above average. So that is what we are looking at. Now, also, I wanted to show you these dueling hurricanes out here in the Atlantic, and some pretty interesting things to talk about with that. So when you get, very rarely do you ever see this happen, but sometimes one hurricane can impact the other hurricane and can have a big impact on what it's going to do and the direction it's going to take. This is Humberto. It was a category 5 at one time, but it's encountering some what we call wind shear, so it's kind of weakened a bit. And this is Imelda, which is really weird. It's spelled Imelda, but it's Imelda or something like that. So if we take a look at what's going on with Imelda, and I hope I'm saying that right, then top winds with it's at like 65 miles per hour. This will probably become a hurricane here pretty soon. But there's a term in the world of weather that's called Fujiwara, however you want to call it. And it happens when you have two low pressure centers spinning around each other. So typically what happens whenever you have a Fujiwara effect, you'll have an area of low pressure that's all a hurricane is, just a real low area of pressure. And the circulation around the two kind of catapult each other. Oftentimes you'll have this one that'll catapult in that direction, and the circulation around this one will cause this one to actually catapult in a different direction. So this hurricane Humberto is going to actually save the South Carolina coastline. There's some rain up there tonight into the Virginias, those areas, Carolinas. But as this begins to pull away, which will start, it's happening now, but it's not moving very quickly, but it will pick up steam. It's going to, the circulation and the momentum around this is going to drag this. This is going to be moving west here really, really soon. And I can show you that with our computer models here. And you can see how, there it goes. And you can see this, the northern system here, kind of moves a little bit like this and begins to pull this in this direction. Now they don't completely wrap around each other because the system number one, Umberto, gets shoved out to sea. So, but the momentum again is pushing this right at Bermuda later on this week. So Bermuda could be impacted by some hurricane force winds. They do get them from time to time. So that certainly is a possibility. So yeah, it is interesting to see how weather sometimes behaves. So, all right, that's what we got right now, y'all. All right, so what is everybody up to here tonight? Let's put the stream back on here. Let's see, is there anything else that I can think about to talk about here? There's just not a whole lot. And Ryan, probably not that much. Maybe sort of kind of an interesting weather, maybe this winter some. It's hard to say. If we were consistently staying with La Nina and not weakening, I'd say it could definitely be. But with this transitioning, it could be. The transition could wind up making for an interesting winter. So we'll see what happens. I know that at least for the remainder of the fall, I do expect mostly dry conditions and mild conditions. No rain chance, Kate. So mostly mild conditions and mostly dry conditions. But, we'll transition at some point to a colder pattern. And as that happens, and I've seen it happen this way, that, you sometimes to break these patterns, you get severe weather. And the fall season can bring severe weather. So we'll see if that happens. I'm not saying it will, but we'll see if that happens. So, but anyway, so we'll see if it's an interesting winter. It could be. So what's up, LM? So we got LM on the show tonight here. We got let's see, we got Tracy, we got Carrie. The thoughts on the Cowboys. At the beginning of this broadcast, I was telling how great of a game that was. That was a fantastic football game last night. And I thought that Dak Prescott played probably as good as I've ever seen him play. That's probably the best I've ever seen Dak play. And he played like Superman. He played like a Josh Allen. He played to me like the best quarterback in football last night. Now, I'm not saying he's going to continue that, but even without his main man, CeeDee Lamb, he played phenomenal. Cowboys defense is still a bit weak. They're not great. I didn't think that I thought that it's starting out, I thought it was going to be a big blowout. I really did. But everything changed when they blocked that extra point and they got that safety. It's just like a light was lit underneath them. So good game. I don't think that the Cowboys are a Super Bowl contender. I don't see it, but I don't really see outside of Philadelphia really in the NFC. I don't really see anybody that's that great. So we'll just see what happens. Anything can happen. It's football. So, but anyway, I'm trying to think anything interesting happened over in my life. So this weekend, this upcoming weekend, my son Cape he plays football at a junior college up there in Kansas at Butler Junior College, and this is his second year there, and he's been a starter since last year. And he's gotten a ton of college offers to go play elsewhere. They're called D1 Division I offers, but they are all mostly kind of there's the level like that OU and Texas plays. It's here. That's called the power conferences. And then there's a little step below that will play. That are also big schools, but they're not quite as good as the Texases and the OUs. But they still play each other. But they usually get beat. So Cape has had a ton of offers from these D1 programs. They're slightly smaller programs like OU and like Texas, but they still play each other. So he got an offer from. He's got like 10 or so of them, I think. He's got an offer from Old Dominion, who is that is located over there in Virginia. I think it's it's somewhere over there pretty close to Virginia Beach. So he got the official invite, which is basically all expenses paid for this upcoming weekend. So last week he texted me like on Thursday. He says, "Hey Dad, will you go with me?" I was like, "Well, let me see what I can do." I mean, I'm having to rearrange schedules because I'd already given Jacob, off this weekend. Months ago, I couldn't just say, "Hey, Jacob, you can't take it." I can't do that to him. So Weatherman Cam's from how I would step up the game a little bit and have to do a couple, maybe I have to do some longer shifts, but I got to make this work. And so I should be leaving here on Friday afternoon to head out to oh, what is it? Is it Roanoke, Virginia? But anyway, it's one of those. It's over there around Virginia Beach, and I'll be back on Monday. I mean, I won't be back to work on Monday, but we'll be back here on Monday. My wife and I are going to go with him, so pretty excited about that. You know, to just go see us. It's like an all expenses paid type thing. I'm sure it's Norfolk, Virginia. I'm sure we'll go to the game. Well, yeah, we'll definitely go to the game, and you know, I'm sure they'll put us up in a hotel, and we'll probably go and eat. Yes, he's already had an offer from Tarleton. Yes, he had an offer from Tarleton and Abilene Christian, and also UTSA, University of Texas San Antonio. I think UTEP maybe as well. Let's see, UMass has offered him. Illinois State, but you know, he hadn't accepted anything yet. But you know, ECU, East Carolina University, hasn't accepted anything yet. But you know, we'll see. He may wind up taking one of those, or he may wait out and see if he gets a bigger offer. We'll see. Of course, these days it's all about the NIL. So we'll just see what happens. But anyway, this will be the first time I've ever gone on an official visit, so it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, and you know, the weather pattern's quiet, so I don't mind leaving it in Weatherman Cam's hands. I mean, there's not anything that's going to be happening this weekend that, you know, that is going to necessitate, you know, full staff anyway. So but I'm trying to think if there's anything else, you know, going on right now that, you know, we can talk about here. That is, you know, in my life, the thing that you know, I follow the closest is the no, not even a chance, Kate. Like I said, Cowboys are probably not a Super Bowl contender. Probably not. They could, but probably not. But the Saints definitely will not. They're horrible. So yeah, he's definitely going to get a full ride, Julie. He's already been offered full rides everywhere. But like I say, he's waiting to see if he can get one of those bigger offers from like maybe an OU or maybe a Texas or somewhere like that. So I appreciate it, Tracy. Thank you very much. So thank you there, Carrie. I appreciate it. So we'll see how all that goes. But I'll let you know. I'll update that next week. Try to think, which is 9:43. I've been doing these a little bit earlier as of late because I'm trying to get. They usually start coming into the studio. The anchors do a little bit after 9:45 now. So whenever they start coming in, it's a little distracting. So he's an offensive lineman. He plays guard. So I mean, it's not one of the more glamorous positions. I mean, you have to watch it. And you have to know what they're supposed to do, and you know, to know if they're even out there doing what they're supposed to. You kind of have to know what they're doing, and it's not as fun as watching the quarterbacks or the running backs or the receivers. But I do enjoy it because I do understand what the assignment is, and whenever the running back runs behind Cape and they get busted open for a big run, I'm always like, yeah, he did his job there. So that's what I always look forward to. So. Trying to see what else. So seems like there were some other things that were going on that I just have forgotten all about. Thanks, LM. I honestly do try to stay off of social media some these days. I get tired of all the craziness on there, so I try to stay off of it. But you know, of course, in the world we live in, we just sometimes we got, you know, the thing that I enjoy watching mostly on social media is just like funny videos, like I enjoy watching you know, dog videos and just funny stuff, you know, things that makes me laugh. So that's what I mostly look at, but like the social media for. And of course, I mean, there's a lot of matter of fact, I saw this. You know, there's just a lot of those false news and weather outlets out there these days. So you know, I try to steer clear of them too. All right, so this 9:45, the studio's starting to, people are starting to come in. So I'm going to jump off here. I'm going to go